Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is the case of Idaho quadruple murders that took place on the 13th of November, 2022. 2 weeks ago, this young man, Tim Reed, got badly assaulted by the Vandals football team.
Attacked by a group of other students, including some Vandal football players. That student's family is now asking for answers. The Reed family says back in February, a group of 40 to 50 students showed up uninvited to their son Timmy's house off campus. Timmy had been planning on hosting a party that night, but when the group showed up, Timmy's dad says he asked them to leave. Then he says they punched him, knocking him unconscious. Again, this was back in February. Well, now Timmy's dad says the university is dragging their feet on the investigation. Nicole Hernandez reports tonight.
It's very devastating as a parent.
It's been 10 weeks since Nick Reed got the call about his son.
We found out the next morning, February 11th.
Found out their son, Timmy, woke up looking like this.
He'd asked them to leave, and, 20 or 30 seconds in, he was cold caught and knocked unconscious and broke his nose.
Nick was surprised by the whole situation.
He's just a nice kid, never been in a fight in his entire life.
The family's lawyer says the week before this fight, someone in Timmy's fraternity got into a scuffle with a Vandal football player. They say that could be why the group showed up that night, for some sort of revenge.
Nothing that Timmy did incited those 40 or 50 football players or athletes that show up at his house. He had nothing to do with anything the week previous.
Since the university and police have been investigating.
I know the police investigation is ongoing, but we feel like the university could have done more.
The University of Idaho said today they are taking this seriously. They said, quote, "Anytime the safety of any students comes into question, we are deeply concerned and work to understand the facts and take action accordingly." The Moscow police also updated us today, saying they still have one more search warrant they need to serve in their investigation. In the meantime, the Reeds are waiting for more concrete answers.
Psychologically, it's been tough for us and him.
That was Nicole Hernandez reporting. Another part of this, Nick Reed was part of a scholarship fund that raises money for U of I students. That scholarship fund decided not to hold their annual fundraiser this year out of concern some of the money would benefit one of the attackers. Nick Reed says he was not part of that decision and actually resigned from his position.
So this is a very concerning situation. This is a assault. This young man was badly beaten by the Vandals football team. And keep in mind, Brian Christopher Koberger isn't there. He's arrested for the quadruples, which I have doubts if Brian is guilty or innocent. But this is a good example to see what is going on in Idaho Moscow University. He asked the boys to leave his home. They weren't even invited, and 40 to 50 footballers did this. That's what was written in the article. And I'm sure they lost their scholarships and their fundings due to this incident being investigated. These are not one of the only things that happen in this university. It seems like there's no boundaries, there's no mindfulness. This young man will definitely suffer PTSD. He will definitely be suffering other mental health illnesses, paranoia, anxiety, depression, isolation. Just look at the state of his eye. So why is it so difficult for us to believe that the fraternities could have been involved in the quadruples? I wish this boy and his family a speedy recovery although physically he will recover, we don't know about how his psychological state is going to be. I really feel sorry for him. Hudson Lindo, his body was found in the Paradise Creek in Moscow, Idaho. That is just a couple of minutes away from the Sigma Chi. He was last seen. He attended a Sigma Chi party. Xana Kernodle, may she rest in peace, Jake, Maddie's boyfriend, and Maddie attended the party too. And Hoodie Guy, Jack Showalter. What happened to this young man? It was ruled out as an accident, but I don't believe it was an accident. With all these concerning behaviors going on in Idaho Moscow University, I wouldn't be surprised if this was foul play.
Moscow, like I told you all, I've gone back to the beginning of this case, and I came across this article of this young 19-year-old boy who was found dead in Paradise Creek in Moscow. This happened on the 5th of January. On a Sunday, he was found early in the morning, 11:30, near the College Avenue. The Moscow police identified the person whose deceased body was found Sunday morning in Paradise Creek. According to news release, 19-year-old Hudson Lindo of Boise was found dead in the creek approximately at 11:30 a.m. near College Avenue. Isn't that strange? Wasn't Sunday 11:30 a.m. The next of kin has been notified. The investigation is ongoing. The police do not suspect any foul play at this time. The Moscow Police Department is currently trying to identify a deceased body found Sunday morning in Paradise Creek. Police Chief James Fry said that the body was found near College Avenue near a bridge. The body was discovered by a citizen who was traveling on a nearby bike path. We're still in the internal investigation to try to determine who the individual is and what's taking place, Fry said. This was in early January.
So this young man was found on Sunday too. The quadruple murders happened on a Saturday night. The victims were found on Sunday early morning, and the police were called at 11:58. His body was found approximately around 11:30, and he attended a party at the Sigma Chi. Jake, Maddie, the couple, Xana, and Hoodie Guy were all there. This can't just be a coincidence that bodies are being found. We have the quadruple, the 4 victims, and we've had this young man, his body being found a couple of months before the quadruple murders. Is this linked? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm just trying to show you the behavior, the concerning behavior that seems to be taking place in Idaho, Moscow, and I'm sure in many other universities. But this university just had a quadruple a year and a half ago, and now we have this young man that I showed you all previously, Tim Reeds, who was beaten up by the Vandals Football Club. So what is going on? Are these people investigating the matter? If this concerning pattern keeps going on, like Tim Reeds' case, luckily he's alive, but doesn't that show a pattern of violence I'm talking about serious assaults. This is GBH. Grove bodily harm. I don't think these matters are even investigated, honestly. The 4chan hasn't been investigated. The Sigma Chi boys' investigation lasted just a couple of days or barely a week. You can see the fingerprints on the Good Vibes picture. You can see clearly what happened to the 3 unidentified male DNAs. I always said I believe something happened or in the living room. The assault must have started, the quadruples must have started from the living room, because for someone to have got their fingerprints on the Good Vibes definitely means that there was a fight. No one will leave their fingerprints on purpose, especially in this case. And it seems like there's red liquid, there's blood on the walls. What happened to these poor victims? Could it be the same people that attacked Tim Reeds could have done this? This is the living room, and you can see there are 4 cups there, or 5 cups. Was there a party that night? Because DM allegedly heard rummaging upstairs, and she thought it was the Sigma Chi boys. And we know they were under investigation. I'm not saying that Bryan Kohberger is guilty or innocent, but I'm just saying if he has a solid alibi, and if Ann Taylor proves that he wasn't even at the place, then definitely the fraternities need to be investigated. But is that going to be too late? Where was Xana and Ethan that day? Nobody saw them between 9:45 to 1:45. But we could see the people in the grub truck calling their names. And they were watching the phone device. What happened to these students? Could someone have followed Maddie and Kaylee home? Because we saw hoodie guy running the opposite direction, and he got into a car that looked like a red Mustang. And a red Mustang was found crushed at St. Deacon's Avenue. That's only 11 minutes from the girl's house, from the victim's house. Was someone waiting for them outside or inside the house when the girls got home? If you look at the picture on the left-hand side upstairs, you can see the detectives standing in front of Bethany Funk's room BS.